Alright, what's up, Cancers? Here are the messages for February 2026. Anyway. Alright. Oh yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay. Well, finally, I believe in your message you have a chance to not be so bound by these patterns, emotional patterns. Because this is being able to see outside yourself, see yourself, catch the tics, catch yourself in action. You know? Yeah. Libra's here. This means Libra. This represents Libra, right? Very powerful. Well, could just be finally a trusting of yourself in this state of getting better, or seeing yourself as better, or getting better. Because if you're getting better, that's all you should really focus on. Because some of us remind ourselves how crappy we were, which throws off you focusing on the better you've gotten, or the better you're getting at. So as long as you keep bringing up how this was this, you keep messing up what it's being presently. So you should only presently focus on the present state of getting better, the better you've attained, the things you've attained. This gets in the way of it. This gets in the way of it. You know, because that talks about foundation. This is about foundation. Obviously good foundation. The foundation is faulty and stuff. But it's only because your attention, you keep telling that story to yourself, you're only going to keep seeing how bad it was. But it's getting better, actually. The good news is if you keep doing this is ignoring, not paying attention. You ignore that part of the story where you were fixing, you know, you're focused on the fixing. But this, because if you keep going to this is you admitting, yeah, I got here because of this. But this is you putting your head down and only building towards the better. You can't keep going, I'm this, so I don't have a right to be this is how people see you. The meaning of this card is actually about you programming your mind, the subconscious. And when you do all that, self-hating on yourself, you're programming your mind to only believe you're not worth it. When you're your own hater, no one needs to do anything. In fact, when people believe in themselves, it makes you feel a certain type of way because you're your own hater. This moon card comes out because it's about the subconscious, but the real meaning of this card is about programming your mind. And then the different symbols here. So if I remember correctly, this is art, this is nature. You know, we've bred dogs to be our servant, you know, to be our companions, serve. or nature can take its course. Either way, it's all cultivation, because the dog lives a better life than having to kill, right? You gets treats, learns tricks and stuff, has other activities, so it's actually a better use, you could say. But then I like to see the moon as wholeness. I mean, they're all looking up to this. I mean, but this is how you see yourself, which all of this is hard to know because it depends on what you're programming yourself with. Because you can stick to how you were raised, or you can cultivate yourself, or you can use both. You know yourself, the past, what you are now, and still keep working towards with consciousness. I feel like this is a bit more conscious though. This is raw, but you still can use this fuel of like the raw expression mixed with a little bit of understanding. But to this moon part, the moon is a big circle, and that's a symbol of circle's wholeness. But you really never know what we don't know what we're programming our minds. We only know the face. I mean, we would know based on our communication, how we talk about people. You would know based on what you project onto others, how you speak of others. People know what you're focusing on and what you feel about yourself. So, but with this mentality available, you got to watch out, because you should only speak greatness, right? It's weird because you got to see the reality, but also see the greatness that everyone has. We all have great potential within us. The wolf has now been bred into a little lap dog, right? That gets fed treats and is just here to be given treats now. Way better than having to rip and tear animals apart, and potentially be shot by hunters, So the real problem is, I think the real message with the circle, the moon representing that big circle, that wholeness, that we can still see the greatness in people around us, even though what we believe, that could be an obstacle, what you believe. I'm trying to keep this message clear and not let it get all ambiguous and unclear and shit. So this can work like a sword in both ways, because you can catch yourself, but also your belief of another person. You can throw all these descriptions on them because of what you truly still believe of yourself. I hate that. You want to know what you're looking out for. You got to look out for situations putting pressure on you see in someone else, and you still keep affirming what they were, the lowest part of themselves, when in fact all they see is their greatness. It's just you holding on to that. Watch out for that, because if someone loves themselves despite what you think of them, it's almost a slap in your face. So it depends. Does that mean you have a person training you to look at the worst in someone else, even though they may be trying their best to get better? We have to watch out, because this talks about close connections we stay stuck to, that keep us in these feelings. So you can also be around these people, but don't get caught up in the activity of staying in the illusions. You have to keep a fair distance between it. So this card can be a challenge or an obstacle, a helper or a challenge, because you can catch yourself when you're getting in this momentum. Catch yourself when you start speaking in that vocabulary. There's great potential around you, but the problem is we're allowing people to remind us of our past. People to remind you of your current, your score. they're looking at the score, and we still got time in the game to win more. So we gotta keep it moving. So Capricorn here. What is it about this person? Either Scorpio came out too. The Devil card, which is Capricorn's card, the Devil card could also be like this person getting rid of that obsessive, that worrisome energy, that reminding you of where you lack energy. You being able to stop yourself from staying in this. It happens so subtly, because the victories are coming in, so you should only focus on the greatness that's coming in. I had a great opportunity. I have a great opportunity that came in for me recently, and I've been able to, keep myself healthy minded, and I'm not even counting the days. I'm just staying healthy and being glad each day, focusing on more health, more clearness, more clarity. So, that's all I'll say for your message. It feels so, damn, we're really dealing with the moon. It's felt so ambiguous because people are not really 100% clear on what they value about themselves, because they're looking at someone else's triumph as a little bitty victory when it's a very great one. A very great victory. So the problem is how you see someone may be how you truly feel about yourself. What you're pinpointing and not allowing to be is what you probably feel about yourself. And it's very hard to break out of these things. So it makes more sense because it does take separating, the beauty. Like I said, I haven't really been smoking at all, thankfully, this month, the end of December, at all in this new year. I'm hoping to keep it that way. I just haven't been counting the days, so specifically. And this was a challenge because, I had vivid dreams at first. Crazy dreams. Like, in the dream, I'm still having behaviors of a person that's still heavily addicted and would still strategically try to get weed in these dreams. I'm trying to get. It's a dream where I'm with my friends. I haven't talked to these guys in forever, but somehow, and it with a backpack with like 3 pounds, right? And I was like, what? I threw out, hey man, hey, do your own dirt. I threw out 2 of them, but I kept one of them to myself, and I called the Uber in the dream. And then when I get in the fucking Uber, 2 fucking cop motorcycles pull over the Uber car. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Then I wake up and I was like, what the fuck? It's like, damn, I'm still trying to get high in the dream. Cause I left my buddies. I'm like, hey man, I'm leaving y'all, bro. Get away from me. And they was like, it's like that? Alright. So we gonna show them what's up. That's what they said. And I'm driving off, and they pulled the 2 cop cars, put me over on the freeway. And I was looking in the bag like, should I throw it? What should I do? I'm like, fuck it. I don't care. And I just woke up, and I was like, what the fuck? So obviously, I still have to acknowledge I'm still in a state of recovery. 15 years, clean slate now. Well, still now and still ongoing. I've just been going for great walks. Waking up, cooking, doing little errands. And now I finally have a gig coming up for me. A great gig starting Monday. So, more ways after this little snow situation we had. So, even more of something to look forward to, because finally I'm giving my full self to things. Not needing to be on anesthesia anesthesia, whatever, however you say it, to deal with people, to deal with my day. I don't need that anymore to deal with my day. So, but I still have to honor that there's still part of me that is still getting more used to me. So this is you in the state of you getting more used to yourself. You know, this is the crumbling parts coming away as you grow. See this as a plant and then breaking through, the dirt or whatever. It's going to take more time, but you have to keep betting on yourself each time, looking at the victories each time, because if you look at where you're at still, that's going to take away, and then it's going to subconsciously break you down because it's going to translate to I'm not doing anything. Nothing's happening. Nothing's changing. When in fact, there's always a bit of calmness, a little bit of more awareness, a little bit of more connectivity in these interactions. I'm paying attention to more connectivity I have in my day-to-day with people. Yes, I'll still have a little bit of the, quick people who want me to give them quick answers and interaction. They'll be disappointed. But the people who take their time with me, it's a great experience. Just simply someone helping me find an item in the store was a very comfortable, smooth, enjoyable experience. Subtle things. I'll take it. I can tell, but do I really need to see the whole part of me get better? I can accept the slow build of me fully being understood. So the problem is a lot of us are quick to getting quick hits, and in your reading, there are people who are so used to quick, they may point out things. I'll leave it at that. Damn it! Another video that's went on past 10 minutes. Sorry, Cancer. So the real key about this message is you're still more of yourself. You're becoming more of yourself. And maybe you finally got out of that loop of defeating yourself before you even start. Now you can actually let yourself win, but remind yourself this is a new part of yourself, allowing yourself to win without having someone count your wins for you. You count your own wins and you trust you'll keep winning. And that will require you to have to be faced with situations that used to tell you you're not winning. So you can now tell them in your face, to their face, I'm glad you feel that way. I'm just going to keep trusting the process because apparently I'm seeing things turn around. So we're going to have to I said for Gemini, give people a clean slate. Just give them a clean slate because they're not that deep with themselves yet. Yeah, they still want to remind you of, but why something's this, why it looks like it's not capable. You just keep going. I feel great. I'm liking the comfortable pace of this situation. It'll get better. I'm happy it's getting better. I need to allow it to get better because before I know it, it'll be amazing. So like I said, so now your video's a tad bit long. People see you as this, so it's hard to tell where you're at because no one knows what you're really telling yourself, what your self-talk is. I'm not talking about people in your life. I'm talking about how people see you. It's really funny because you're over here growing through these past situations. They're balancing out. Your focus is amazing. The problem is our relationship with ourselves is what we're looking at. So you gotta are you allowing yourself to get better? You're not too busy looking for the obvious big signs that mean you're getting better. The little signs are even greater. Great. So you could just remind yourself the little victories will eventually turn into big mountains of wins. You just got to keep that momentum and not be so down on yourself, not getting, just be happy you got the victory. Count the little wins. They're coming in. Your attention is there, you know, but there are definitely energies that will either remind you or want your focus to be here. Just calmly remind yourself. Calmly remind yourself. You have to calmly remind yourself. Count the little victories that have been coming in. Me, for example, actually allowing myself to be sober. I've gone a whole month sober. I hate that I told y'all that, because it means I'm technically counting, but I know for a fact it's been about a month. And truly, I understand why you really need to just keep your head down and keep taking it day by day, because it's not even nothing to brag about. It's a duty at this point. I owe it to myself to see myself unfold. In whatever journey you're in, you owe it to yourself to see yourself unfold in this place. And the least you can do is not kick your own ass emotionally. And when someone else speaks to you like that, be conscious enough to go, man, I'm glad I'm focused on the little victories that are delicious and nourishing enough for me to keep moving. Later, y'all. I gotta read this again because I wrote this down because it's a healthy reminder. It says, don't let every thought, don't let every emotion or every external event push you into a new mental state. Remain confident when it looks messy and when there are many circumstances. Learn to stand still. Do not move inside. Do not change your inner decision. Do not chase signs. No old ideas or old beliefs about yourself, right? Yes. Know that the victory is yours. From a Neville Goddard book. Someone posted on YouTube, but those specific quotes are so powerful just to remind you to keep trusting in your path, because you've already seen enough indicators. But you got to trust yourself to stay still when the world's trying to tell you no and people want to tell you no. Keep the inner still. Keep trust. Stick to the decision. Stick to the oath you made with yourself. You've already made this promise to yourself to aspire to greatness. So I've already signed the oath. I'm already, as I put it, I've already made my oath. It's what I signed up for. So I've already made my oath to greatness. This is what I have to deal with. Later, Cancers, they're the messages for February 2026. And how I could sum up this message for you is you really have to count the little victories. You're going to have to count the little victories before you allow someone or yourself to knock you back down to what you used to be, even though you're staying present in your building now, and what you're building now, and who you are now. The little victories are delicious and they're very nourishing, right? They will nourish you. Just keep focusing on the victories you got. Later. What's going to come in for you? Situations that are going to try to remind you from the past where you're at, which is a beautiful test of your belief in what oath you made to yourself now. Later.